A student's overview of the Ageless wisdom was carefully compiled from the following books by Alice A. Bailey. A Treatise on Cosmic Fire. Esoteric Psychology, Volumes 1 and 2. Esoteric Healing. Esoteric Astrology. The Rays and the Initiations. Students are encouraged to download the free PDF version of this overview by following the link in the video's description, or to order a printed copy at cost from thebookpatch.com, but are advised to read the original, unabridged books in order to gain deeper insight into the ageless wisdom. Students are also invited to join our online study group at facebook.com/groups/students of the ageless wisdom. Chapter 67: The Rays and the Initiations. Introductory Postulates. Students at this time would do well to remember that all basic and fundamental changes taking place upon the physical plane are necessarily the result of inner subjective causes, emanating from some level of the divine consciousness, and therefore from some plane other than the physical. The fact that tremendous and unusual upheavals are taking place in the kingdoms of nature is attributed by men to other men or to certain forces generated by human thinking, frailty and ambition. In the first thesis which I presented to the public, I outlined the rules for applicants, initiation, human and solar, summarizing the past propositions and indicating the individual preparation and requirements. These will now apply to the probationary groups of disciples, and not to accepted disciples. They must and will still remain the character and purificatory objectives of the dedicated individual, but are regarded as adequately grasped by humanity. They have been proclaimed by all the great world religions down the centuries and have been recognized as the main conditioning qualities of all disciples. These same rules or formulas of approach are the lower correspondences of higher rules to which groups of disciples are pledged to conform, and which they must follow and obey together. The hierarchy into which they will enter when full acceptance and demonstration have been shown will be the same hierarchy, characterized by the same soul awareness, animated by the same spiritual activity, functioning under the same laws, but conditioned by two progressive and evolutionary developments. 1. A much closer contact, invocative and evocative, with Shambhala, and therefore a fuller responsiveness to the will aspect of divinity. 2. An invocative attitude on the part of humanity, based on a fundamental decentralization of the selfish human consciousness and a rapidly awakening group consciousness. In reality, this means that the hierarchy will be more closely related to the Great Council at Shambhala, and very much more closely interrelated with humanity, so that a dual fusion will be taking place. This will bring about that integrative process which will be the quality of the New Age and will inaugurate the Aquarian phase of planetary history. End of page 342. The 14 Rules for Group Initiation. I would now like to bring into a close relation the earlier imparted rules for applicants and the new rules for disciples, embodying the new group activity and group discipleship, resulting in group initiation. These rules are 14 in number. I will first give the rule for the individual disciple, and then its higher corresponding rule for groups in preparation for group initiation, reminding you that such groups are ever composed of those who have taken the first initiation, and they are many. Rule I. For applicants, let the disciple search within the heart's deep cave. If there the fire burns bright, warming his brother yet heating not himself, the hour has come for making application to stand before the door. For disciples and initiates, within the fire of mind, focused within the head's clear light, let the group stand. The burning ground has done its work. The clear cold light shines forth and cold it is, and yet the heat, evoked by the group love, permits the warmth of energetic moving out. Behind the group there stands the door. Before them opens out the way. Together let the band of brothers onward move, out of the fire, into the cold, and toward a new attention. Rule 2. For applicants, when application has been made in triple form, then let the disciple withdraw that application and forget it has been made. For disciples and initiates, the word has now gone forth from the great point of tension, accepted as a group. Withdraw not now your application. You could not, if you would, but add to it 3 great demands and forward move. Let there be no recollection and yet let memory rule. Work from the point of all that is within the content of the group's united life. Rule 3. For applicants, triple the call must be and long it takes to sound it forth. Let the disciple sound the call across the desert, over all the seas and through the fires which separate him from the veiled and hidden door. For disciples and initiates, dual the moving forward. The door is left behind. That is a happening of the past. Let the cry of invocation issue forth from the deep center of the group's clear cold light. Let it evoke response from the bright center, lying far ahead. When the demand and the response are lost in one great sound, move outward from the desert, leave the seas behind and know that God is fire. Rule 4. For applicants, let the disciple tend the evocation of the fire, nourish the lesser lives and thus keep the wheel revolving. For disciples and initiates, let the group see that all the 18 fires die down and that the lesser lives return unto the reservoir of life. This they must bring about through the evocation of the will. The lesser wheels must not for I revolve in time and space. Only the greater wheel must onward move and turn. Rule V. For applicants, let the applicant see to it that the solar angel dims the light of the lunar angels, remaining the sole luminary in the microcosmic sky. For disciples and initiates, in unison let the group perceive the triad shining forth, dimming the light of the soul and blotting out the light of form. The macrocosmic whole is all there is. Let the group perceive that whole and then no longer use the thought my soul and thine. End of page 343. Rule 6. For applicants, the purificatory fires burn dim and low when the third is sacrificed to the fourth. Therefore let the disciple refrain from taking life and let him nourish that which is lowest with the produce of the second. For disciples and initiates, let the group know that life is one and naught can ever take or touch that life. Let the group know the vivid, flaming, drenching life that floods the fourth when the fifth is known. The fifth feeds on the fourth. Let then the group, merged in the fifth, be nourished by the sixth and seventh and realize that all the lesser rules are rules in time and space and cannot hold the group. It onward moves in life. Rule 7. For applicants, let the disciple turn his attention to the enunciating of those sounds which echo in the hall where walks the Master. Let him not sound the lesser notes which awaken vibration within the holes of Maya. For disciples and initiates, let the group life emit the word of invocation and thus evoke response within those distant ashrams where move the chahans of the race of men. They are no longer men as other masters, but having passed beyond that lesser stage, have linked themselves with the great council in the highest secret place. Let the group sound a dual chord, reverberating in the holes where move the masters, but finding pause and prolongation within those radiant holes where move the lights which carry out the will of God. Rule 8. For applicants, when the disciple nears the portal, the greater seven must awaken and bring forth response from the lesser seven upon the double circle. For disciples and initiates, let the group find within itself response to the greater seven groups which carry out the hierarchical will with love and understanding. The group contains all seven, the perfect group. The lesser seven, the greater seven and the planetary seven form one great whole, and these the group must know. When this is realized and the law of the supplementary seven is understood, let the group understand the three and then the one. This they can do with the united breath and the unified rhythm. Rule 9. For applicants, let the disciple merge himself within the circle of the other selves. Let but one color blend them and their unity appear. Only when the group is known and sensed can energy be wisely emanated. For disciples and initiates, let the group know there are no other selves. Let the group know there is no color, only light, and then let darkness take the place of light, hiding all difference, blotting out all form. Then, at the place of tension, and at that darkest point, let the group see a point of clear cold fire, and in the fire, right at its very heart, let the one initiator appear whose star shone forth when the door first was passed. Rule X. For applicants, the army of the voice, the devas in their serried ranks work ceaselessly. Let the disciple apply himself to a consideration of their methods. Let him learn the rules whereby the army works within the veils of Maya. For disciples and initiates, the rules for work within the veils of Maya are known and have been used. Let the group widen all the rents within those veils and thus let in the light. Let the army of the voice be no more heard and let the brothers onward move within the sound. Then let them know the meaning of the OM and let them hear that OM as it is sounded forth by him who stands and waits at the very center of the council chamber of the Lord. End of page 344. Rule 11. For applicants, let the disciple transfer the fire from the lower triangle to the higher and preserve that which is created through the fire at the midway point. For disciples and initiates, let the group together move the fire within the jewel in the lotus into the triad and let them find the word which will carry out that task. Let them destroy by their dynamic will that which has been created at the midway point. When the point of tension is reached by the brothers at the fourth great cycle of attainment, then will this work be done. Rule 12. For applicants, let the disciple learn to use the hand in service. Let him seek the mark of the messenger in his feet and let him learn to see with the eye which looks out from between the two. For disciples and initiates, let the group serve as Aquarius indicates. Let Mercury speed the group upon the upward way and let Taurus bring illumination and the attainment of the vision. Let the mark of the Savior, as the group toils in Pisces, be seen above the aura of the group. Rule 13. For applicants, 4 things the disciple must learn and comprehend before he can be shown the inmost mystery. First, the laws of that which radiates. The 5 meanings of magnetization make the second. The third is transmutation, or the secret lost of alchemy. And lastly, the first letter of the word which has been imparted, or the hidden name egoic. For disciples and initiates, let the group get ready to reveal the hidden mystery. Let the group demonstrate the higher meaning of the lessons learnt, and these are 4 and yet are 1. Let the group understand the law of synthesis, of unity and fusion. Let the threefold mode of working with that which is dynamic carry the group together towards the higher 3 where the will of God holds sway. Let transfiguration follow transformation, and may transmutation disappear. Let the OM be heard right at the center of the group, proclaiming God is all. Rule 14. For applicants, listen, touch, see, apply, know. For disciples and initiates, know, express, reveal, destroy and resurrect. These are the rules for group initiation, and I am dealing with them to give you a fuller understanding of the laws of group life with which I dealt in some of my other books. These instructions are written for future disciples towards the end of this century. They form part of the last volume of a treatise on the 7 rays and will, therefore, go out to the general public who will not understand, but thus the needed teaching will be preserved. End of page 345. End of chapter 67.